When you switch your mindset to that of like, how can I create a relationship versus how can I make money off of you? It pivots it from scarcity mindset to abundant mindset.
What's up, and welcome back to the Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host and your soon-to-be podcast BFF, Jillian Murphy. If you are absolutely exhausted of hearing the same podcast that only leaves you feeling motivated and just a bunch of fluff, well, you have absolutely landed on the right podcast today. In this episode, we are going to talk about the most important skill you need to generate your business, and that is sales. We are going to dive into topics such as messaging, marketing, how to build lead generation organically, and we are going to talk about how to create consistent cash months inside of your business. And we are also going to talk about how to build a company that isn't just about making money, but is also bringing in actual wealth, while getting back to what I know is your most important thing, time freedom. Now, I am here for real talk, real advice, straightforward tip, and no BS. You can always walk away and implement everything that we talk about in our show and move it into your business immediately. But I have to tell you, I am not your typical business mentor. We are going to talk about things that nobody else is probably talking about on the internet. We are going to talk about what it takes to build a real company and not just about how to manifest your business or how you can make $1 million tomorrow. But if that's what you're looking for, this podcast is absolutely not for you. We are going to talk about the real skills to build a real business. Now, I have spent over 25 years in the corporate sales space, generating over $100 million in sales through multiple industries in the online and the brick and mortar space. I have been able to help over 500 entrepreneurs not only grow their sales, but scale their businesses. Several times per week, I'm going to bring you solo episodes, guest episodes, and even hot seat coaching so that you are able to scale your sales. Now, grab a pen and paper, your beverage of choice, and let's freaking go. What's up, babes? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so pumped today. I have a Detroit girly on the show today. Demiree, welcome to the show. Tell my audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Demery and I'm from Detroit and I own a company called Empower, which is Michigan's largest women empowerment conference and community. And with that, I get to have fun pretty much just having a giant party with a bunch of girls once a year. And then throughout the year, we have an online community that meets up and does all the fun things as well. So it's really just living a girl's dream.
Yeah, I love this. I love this so much. And I love it mostly because I'm from Detroit. 47 years I lived in Detroit. And I feel like there's so much like just bad press around Detroit, but I'm like, can we just bring some hype to Detroit? So let's just first start off the call with like, tell us about your event, where it's going to be, and like, ladies, get your booties to Detroit.
Oh my God, Detroit is so up and coming and not even
So
up and coming. It's coming. Like it's here. It's
it's
already here.
here. It has arrived.
I think a lot of people have like a negative connotation and like anytime we say the word Detroit, people think like the movie 8 Mile. That's
Yeah.
literally all they can think. Like I remember being in Italy one time and they were like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Michigan." And they had no idea what that was. And I was like, "Well, it's a city called Detroit." And they're like, "Oh, 8 Mile. Yes." I'm like, so you know that they're like very scary. And I'm like, "No, no, it's not." I mean, like every city has its scary. Chicago, LA, all these
Don't
places.
know where I am.
They
Like
have
I'm
their
in Scottsdale, you guys, one of the most beautiful cities in the country. And like I go 5 miles down the road and like they're really country.
Yeah, every
It's
city's going
everywhere.
to have its moments, right? But it is so beautiful here, and I'm really proud to have our event here. We have no plans to take Empower and doing it anywhere else, like as far as our main event. But Detroit is just so much fun. Our event's here at a place called Huntington Place,
Yeah.
previously known as Cobo Hall. I'm sure you know where that is, and it's a very big venue. So we were very overwhelmed when they had reached out to ask us to come to Detroit. So it's been a dream come true coming to like this spot where we used to be at convention centers and stuff, and we were max passing that. And now having a space where we can fit comfortably 1,700 people is just a dream. So it's in the heart of Detroit, in the middle of everything. There is so much coolness going on. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the Lions didn't suck ass this year. So they've brought a lot of awareness to it. The draft was here this year,
Yeah.
so people are coming and like, oh, okay, it's not super ghetto everywhere you go and scary. Like it's actually really fun and there's lots of things happening and it's just this big creative area and district full of the most amazing people doing really cool things. So I'm just really proud to have the event here in Detroit this year.
Yeah, it's so good. And I'm so glad the Lions don't suck. It's funny. I was married for almost a decade and we had season tickets to the Lions when they sucked. And every year it was like this fight, like, babe, can we just please sell these tickets? And he's like, no, they're gonna get better. And I'm like, we're wasting our weekends every weekend going down to the Lions game. And then this year, of course, they crushed it. Last year they crushed it. And it's like, he was onto something, holding on to those
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah, he was holding out and then right when it's like everyone's dream, I'm almost there, and then you give up and you're like, see?
Yeah, yeah. I know. I'm really good friends with his new girlfriend. It's like you get to go to the good games. It's like I
Yeah.
when they were terrible. So yeah, I actually love that. But what I also love about the fact of you having the events in Detroit is being someone now who lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. I think like everyone thinks like your events have to be in Scottsdale or they have to be in LA. And like you're really holding up shop in the Midwest. And I think that there's not enough events there. So what made you, obviously you're from Detroit, but what made you want to just like put your roots down in Detroit and not go to one of these bigger cities to start?
I mean, I think that I'm Michigan born and raised. I lived in North Carolina for a few years. I obviously travel a lot, and there are cooler cities out there. Like Detroit's not, I mean, I personally think Detroit's the best, but if you had somebody at an outside source, they'd be like, Miami's better, Nashville's better. It might be more of the vibe. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I think the reason why I'm mainly here is because of the ties that I've made and the very deep connections that I have of in-person connection. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a virtual girly. I do love, talking online and all the things, but like there's something different about meeting people in person. So I think that just the connections and relationships that I've gotten to make here and the ties and like hearing people's stories by being here in Detroit, I want to highlight those people. And like you said, like there's not a lot going out in the Midwest specifically. Like yeah, there might be a lot of things happening in New York. There might be happening things in Atlanta, and those are more on like the east, south, and northeast side. But when you think about like Michigan, Ohio, Chicago's kind of got it going on too, but like there's not really a lot of fun things happening. Like when I tell people what I do, they're like, "So where are you at? Nashville, LA?" And I'm like, "Detroit." And they're like, "What?" So I think it's just like I said, I have no intentions of bringing this event anywhere else. I want it to stay here and I want to be able to go and support other people's experiences elsewhere and just hold it down here in the Midwest. And I would love to see more things in the Midwest, like even more in Michigan, more in Ohio, because
Yeah.
I would love to go to an empowerment conference every day of my life if I could. But
I mean, let's just talk about the power of just like being in the rooms. Like, and I think that like you shouldn't just go to one and you shouldn't just go to the same one over and over, right? Like when I came across your page and I found you, I was like, one, how have I not heard about you? Because I'm literally obsessed with you now. But it's like, it doesn't do you any good, I don't think, to also keep going to the same ones and being in the same circle. Like, get out of your thing and try a
yeah.
new event. So, like, let's talk about that.
Getting in the room has been my favorite thing, and I honestly think that that's like my motto for 2025. So, a recent story that is funny that has connected probably you and I is Haley
Yeah.
Westfall in Arizona. I came across her page. I literally slid into her DMs. I was like, hey, I love what you're doing, love your vibe, love everything. I think we need to be best friends.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. She was like, I got a ticket with your name on it if you're willing to fly out here. I flew out to Arizona. And the funniest part is when I got there, two of my speakers who are at my event were also there, like Ati from Las Vegas. So it was
Yeah.
like putting yourself in situations that you would normally not be because like it's like a groundhog day. It's
It
a
is.
loophole. Like I love my core group of friends. I ride or die for my business
Yeah.
baddies here in Michigan. Like I will always be there supporting and cheering them on. But there's something different about getting not only outside the room in your own state, but like I love traveling all over the place because how we're doing things in Michigan are completely, and you can totally attest to this of how they're doing things in Arizona and how you're doing things in Arizona is different from how they're doing things in Italy, right? So I think it's important to get out there, but I don't expect people to get to the extent that I'm doing, like traveling all over the place. It's as simple as going to a different coffee shop. I get
Totally.
that you want to ride or die for your people that you love and you've got your go-to order. You never know what will happen. I literally just went to a coffee shop. I work from home. I'm
Yeah.
completely virtual. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this coffee meetup. I need to get out of the house. I go, I meet somebody. She's now our headlining sponsor for $15,000 for our event. just from me going to an event that I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to dress like Adam Sandler today. I actually want to curl my hair and make me realize I am a very feminine person and go out and get some, conversation. And we had this conversation and she messaged me. She's like, I love your vibe. I don't know how I didn't know you and
Yeah.
want to come over to my house, drink wine, and I want to talk about being your headlining sponsor. I'm like,
You're like
it's little
100%.
things like that that you literally have no idea what it could lead to, even if you're in the business industry or not.
Yeah.
Meet your lifelong partner. You literally have no idea what to
You
expect.
literally have no idea. And it's so funny because I teach selling in the DMs. It's like my strategy. It's what I do. And I just taught a webinar yesterday. It's like my signature thing, this webinar every Wednesday. And I taught yesterday about so many people are going into the DMs and they're just looking at the person on the other end of like, oh, can I sell this person? But it's so much bigger than that. It's like, how can I network with this person? How can I bring this person onto my podcast? How can I support their event? How can I offer them a ticket to come to my thing, right? Because that's the beginning and that's the domino effect. I mean, it's no different than when I came across your page. I was like, okay, how can I ask her how I can support her? Hey, can you come on my show? Can I support your event? Can we share it out? Like, what can you do? And if you go in with a servant heart and you offer people support first, you never know where it's going to go, right? Like, my goal one day is to be at your event and to be a headliner, but guess what? It doesn't happen because one day I find you on Instagram. It's because a relationship and a foundation and all of that is built. But you guys have to put yourselves out there first, whether it's going to a coffee shop or sliding into someone's DMs. I mean, you know this better than anybody.
Yeah, not looking at everybody as a price tag.
No.
And I think that that's a big part. Like, would I love to slide in someone's DMs and be like, hey, love you. And they're like, love you too. I'd love to give you $10,000. Yeah, that would be amazing. However, that's not how it always is because it will, oh, hi, my husband came home early. We love that for us.
Oh, hello, husband. Did you bring
Hello,
a snack?
husband. That just, wants to join the podcast.
I mean, he
But
can join us. Come on in.
yeah, say hi, honey. But it's changing the mentality of looking at everybody as a price tag. I mean, I get that that's the end goal for a lot of people, but when you switch your mindset to that of like, how can I create a relationship versus how can I make money off of you? It pivots it from scarcity mindset to abundant mindset. And I love that you said that because it's truly what it is. And that is what has catapulted my career is like I'm not looking at everybody like, I want you to join my membership and you to join my membership and you, because I want people to join the things that I'm doing. Same thing with anyone who has a business of a service-based or product-based business. You want people to buy or utilize your things because they want to, and it aligns because they want to be there, not because you're kind of like poaching them.
Mhm.
And I've found the best clients, I found the best sponsors, I found the best opportunities, and those opportunities open more opportunities, right? So I think it's just not looking at it as, like I said, a price tag situation and just how can I help you genuinely, not because I'm gonna scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like I'm gonna come to your event so that you have to come to mine, or I want, you know what I mean? When you think about it that way, you're gonna be disappointed very
Totally.
often.
Yeah, and
So
it's just like I want to come just because I want to come and I want just because I want to support you and I want to like do those things. And it's like I always say, if you go in with a servant heart first, you'll be shocked at what happens on the
yeah,
other end. Like I just want to leave people better than I found them and I want to support them. And it's like, hey, that's absolutely where it is. So people see you today and they see you as this icon online and this big name and this big brand and this big event, but like I'm sure it didn't start there. So I love a good backstory. So kind of tell us what.
no, yeah. I love that you said icon. I'm like, okay,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
girl,
add that to
I'm
my
here for it.
resume now. I'm an icon.
Please
Um,
do.
no, it didn't start like that. So my first situation was I was in med school. I dropped out of med school, which my parents loved,
Yeah.
and I was going for plastic surgery. And I realized like I kind of want a life before 40. So
Yeah.
before I have my own practice. So dropped out of that, moved to North Carolina and kind of played around with this idea of having a clothing store. And
Okay.
at the time, I was married to my high school sweetheart. He was in the Marine Corps, the typical high school love story. We
Yeah.
loved that for us. And I was like living online a little bit of like this picture perfect lifestyle. My marriage is perfect. We've got the perfect dog, the perfect life. My husband's a war veteran. Like it's
Yeah.
a beautiful American
The
love story.
perfect Christmas card we're all jealous
It's
of. When we get it.
beautiful. It's
We're
the
like,
next
oh, we
Hallmark
need
movie.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the next Hallmark movie coming out 2026.
I'm here for it.
And I just was realizing that everything that I was putting online wasn't true. right? Like, so I was having this life of, building this online boutique while living in North Carolina, but showing up on social media as this like confident person and really hyping up other women because deep down I was like dying a little bit inside. And so then one day after my son was born and years down the road, I was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm miserable. I'm here hyping up women, and this doesn't feel good to me that I'm talking the talk, but I'm not walking the walk. I'm out here like, you should leave your toxic boyfriend, like, screw him. And over here, I've got like a narcissistic husband. I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah.
hate it. So I filed for divorce. That's when my career catapulted. I started to really believe in myself because my entire life I was told, and by
Yep.
my entire life, I was with my husband when I was like 13 years old. So I'm like, my entire life I was told I'll never be anything without anybody.
Yep.
I'll never be
Narcissists will do that.
successful.
They'll brainwash you. I've
Yeah,
been
I'll never be successful without him. No one's ever gonna want a,
there.
a person with a child. Like, ew,
Yeah.
gross, you're ruined.
Yep.
And I built you and this and that. And I'm like, watch me. I'm already in rock bottom. I can't get any more closer to the Earth's crust. Okay.
Yeah.
So like worst case that happens, I just stay right here, but not have to deal with you. So
Yeah.
long story short, filed for divorce. My business skyrocketed. I ended up winning Best Boutique in Michigan and became this like person in my community that I was truly like, F that. This doesn't need to be your life, and stop living for social media because of what you want people to think your life is, and
Yeah.
start actually being the person that you want people to think you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, just be that person. It's not hard. So I ended up closing my boutique because I was traveling a lot. I didn't want overhead. And I realized like I liked this feeling of making women and people in general just feel seen, validated, and heard because my entire life I wasn't. So closed my boutique, started this girls' day out where I had all my best friends come in with their women-owned businesses. And now we're on year 4 of Empower. We're Michigan's largest women empowerment conference. And one thing has just led to another. And it's just been mainly from realizing I deserve more, regardless if you're in a happy, healthy relationship or not. Like, this could be toxic friends, it could be your toxic job, it could be toxic mindset, but just realizing you want more out of life and then showing up in person on social media in all true forms of this is who I am. I'm here on this podcast, braless, just chilling. Like, this is who I am.
100%. I only have a dress on today, you guys, because I have a call at the end that I have to go to in person. Otherwise, you guys know 99.9% of the time I am homeless. All my clients this morning were like, why are you so fancy? I'm like, because
Yeah.
I have a dinner tonight. I don't normally look like this.
I start to question my 7-year-old's like, why do you have makeup on? I'm like, because I want to. And he's like, well, where are you going? Or my husband like, where are you going? And I'm like, nowhere. He's like, oh, okay, well, you look great, baby. Like, it's just so funny. So that's really, I would say long story short, but it wasn't long story short. I love long story long,
I
but
love it.
no, I was never this confident, truly person on social media. I would post pictures and stuff, but in the background, I have someone yelling at me about why did you post that? And you want attention and this and that.
Oh my God, been there, done that.
I'm
Yeah.
tired of doing this. Like, I want to connect with people because God forbid I like who I am. God
Mhm.
forbid I think I'm pretty. God forbid I think I'm successful. That doesn't mean you're not. Like, I was tired of hearing insecure people bring out their insecurities on me and making me feel like shit because of their own problems. And I've just come to learn like that's a you problem, babe. So now we're here and helping other women understand that other people's insecurities are none of your fucking business,
Yeah.
and just to live life for you, and everything will fall in place. So
I love that. Two questions. Where was your boutique at? That one best boutique in Michigan?
it was in Port Huron, Michigan, a little town that touches
Yeah.
like Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very small town. I started it there. We moved locations within like 3 months.
Okay.
Because we just needed to expand, but it was really fun. I like wearing really fun, like retro
Yeah.
clothing as my pants are like pink
I'm
checkered.
really obsessed with those pants. I'm like, are they pajama pants or real pants? Because I'm kind
They're
of
real pants, but I wear them as pajamas sometimes because they're that comfortable. But like, I could walk outside and people think I got my life together. I'm like, little do you know,
like, little do you know.
I
I
feel
love
like I'm
that.
walking on clouds. But yeah, it was in Port Huron, Michigan.
Yeah, so I was in corporate sales for 25 years, and Port Huron Hospital was one of my clients. So
Okay.
I know Port Huron well, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have known about your boutique back then because I would have came and spent all the money at the boutique.
Yeah, it was a fun experience, but it was definitely a stepping stone to where I'm at now that at the time, I'm like, I'm gonna own a boutique to the day I die, and I'm gonna have daughters, and they're gonna take over my business. And I closed it. And funny, my 7-year-old like bawled his eyes out. He's like, "Well, how am I gonna take over Rubu if it's closed?" I'm like, "We can open up a clothing store when you're old enough. It's
Yeah,
okay."
we got
So
you. We got
yeah.
you. Now, let's go back to the event really quick because there are so many different events out there. And I always say that I think people should pick an event based on kind of like what they're looking for. So, are you more of like a business event? Are you more like a rah-rah event? Are you a fun event? Are you a little bit of everything? Like, give us like a synopsis of what your event is.
So it's a little bit of everything. I have lots of friends doing different events that are more focused on business or focused for moms or focused for X, Y, and Z
Yeah, like
creators.
mine is all business, 2 days, implementation,
Yep.
workshopping, brain business, no fun.
I love the business ones. Like they're fun because I know that I'm coming home with tactical information, but there
That's
is
my job.
times and pieces where I would be going to a ton of like business stuff and my girlfriends who are doctors or nurses or HR working corporate jobs are like, why would I go to that? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know my business. This makes no sense. And I'm like, but they're so fun and the connections you make. And then I'm realizing like that doesn't benefit them. Like, cool, they're gonna meet somebody who's a social media guru and they're like, sweet, I post once a year. Like, I
yeah,
don't care. So I'm like, I want to build something that makes women feel excited. It's kind of like a Beyonce concert, Coachella without the music.
100%.
We're praying one day that Beyonce or Lizzo or literally anyone like that comes to it.
I mean,
But
I have no doubt they will.
yeah, we're hoping. But I wanted to create something that wasn't just for business girlies, wasn't just for moms, wasn't just for like younger girls. Like I wanted it to be for everyone, but I didn't want to be too general to where it like doesn't relate to everybody. And they're like,
For
it was
sure.
very rah-rah. And I was explaining to somebody like, yes, it is rah-rah, but like my girls nitpick my speakers because I want people speaking with intentionality that will relate to everybody because I don't want just a hype squad. Like that's important and you need to feel empowered and beautiful and seen and get the cute pictures to post on Instagram to say what a great time you had. But when you're sitting at home in your bed later that week and you're like, now what?
Yeah,
That doesn't seem worth it to me. Like, I want the connections to be there. I want you to have the collabs you want. Maybe you meet your new best friend, maybe whatever. But the speakers and the intentionality behind the event is to be rah rah, but with intention. So you're going home with tactical, like, be a bad bitch, and here's how.
I
Like,
love it.
not just like be a bad bitch and do with that information what you
Best of
will.
luck and luck to you.
Yeah, because like that sounds so simple. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad bitch. Like I got it. But like there's girls that are showing up that this took everything in them to come to this.
Yeah, and
I,
maybe even like a lot of their money to come. Like it was a big
oh,
investment for them to come. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, like to me, I'm like, oh, this is nothing because I'm used to spending thousands of dollars on events, but like a
yeah,
$200 event is a lot for somebody. Like
yeah.
that could be like a
Like,
car.
like a day of work, a week of work. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So I try to design it to the where it's for every woman of all ages. We say 18 and up because as you can tell, I love swearing
I
and
know.
I don't want anyone ever to be like, well, that was very inappropriate. Like I remember my first year I had someone, we did a feedback form. Someone wrote, really good event, could use less swearing. And I literally put it on social media because all of my stuff is anonymous so that people feel comfortable giving me feedback. I was like, I love the feedback. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Like
this is who
this
I
isn't the
am.
event for you then. Like I appreciate your feedback. There's many other ones that will not swear. I'm not changing what I'm doing.
Yep.
This
I
is
get
how
that so
it
much
is.
on my podcast too. People are like, I really listen to your podcast more if you didn't swear so much. I'm like, then I'm probably not the podcast for you because I'm not the coach for you or
Yeah.
the or the mentor for you.
Again, went through the life of not being who I am to
Yeah.
make other people feel happy. Didn't feel great. Don't want to go back there. So I get it. Like I'm not on stage like dropping F-bombs every other word, but like if I have an uncomfortable conversation or I say an F-bomb, like I don't want to feel like, ooh, that pissed that a couple of those people off. Like
Yeah.
this isn't for you. So yeah, it's just this the event overall, how I explain it is I'm a very loud, obnoxious, extroverted, enthusiastic, fun dressed person. But that does not mean you have to be that person also
I
to
love
attend
that.
this event. You can
Hmm.
be the neutral girly who is introverted and wants to keep to herself and not swear. My point is that I'm being exactly who I am, and I'm inviting everybody else to do the same in their own way. What if you want to wear pink? Cool. If you want to wear all black like Wednesday Adams, live your best life. I don't care. I'm just creating the space to show you I'm being exactly who I am, and I'm going to have a party to embrace everybody else that wants to be exactly who they are.
Yeah.
Come
Oh my
along
God.
for the ride
Wednesday
or
Adam
don't join.
comment. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, that's really the vibe. I'm just like, this is who I am. I'm not changing the event, but I'm not also saying like I'm wearing checkered pants and an 8-ball shirt, like, and you got to do the same. Like, you don't have to do that. So,
Yeah, I love that. So
yeah.
like I mean, maybe you do this for your event. I cringe when I sign up for an event and then I get like a lookbook of what I got to dress like.
Yeah, we put it on there as like an inspo because we do have girls that get there and they're like, well, damn, I wish I would have known that it's pink. I'm like, have you seen our Instagram?
Yeah,
Like,
like have you checked out my
everything's pink and orange. We put on there like this is what we wear, like this is what I'm wearing, and
yeah,
these are all of our photo ops that are pink and orange and
yeah,
checkered and smiley face. We just want you to know this is the vibe. If you
so like
want
we
to
know how to
all
dress.
black or purple, by all means, no one's walking you in being like, oh, you got purple, you gotta
Gonna
go.
change, gonna go to Target real quick.
You
Yeah,
gotta leave. Like, no one's doing that. I'm not telling anyone to wear. I'm just saying these are some fun ideas because I think a lot of girls are like, I continuously hear, oh, I want to be extra. I wish I could wear this outfit. I'm like, if
you
you have
not
the outfit
understand.
in your closet that you're like, I don't know what I'm going to wear this to, it's
This
this
is
out,
the
it's
event.
this event. So we're just showing girls that there's a wide range of, you
I
can
love
wear
that.
athletic wear and a sweatpants, a tracksuit, doing the Regina George mom vibe, or you could
Here for it.
wear a ball gown with 10-inch heels. I don't care. You can do whatever you want, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be pink. The theme is pink. There, you're not going to get turned away at the door. It's come as you are. We're just showing you the options and possibilities so you're feeling comfortable about your decision of what you're wearing.
Yeah, I love that so much. The last question I want to ask you, because you are someone who unapologetically shows up as herself, whether it's on social media or on a podcast, when you started doing this even more after your relationship, talk about how it impacted your business. Because there's so many people that listen to this podcast, they get stuck in their head and they're trying to be something else they want online. It's like when you pull this mask off and show up who you are, what actually happens?
You get to live in exactly who you are and you're attracting the right people and your job doesn't feel so forced and nasty. Like my husband works in corporate. God bless his soul. Couldn't be me. He works in the automotive industry.
Thank you for doing God's work over
Yeah,
there.
thank you for doing your work, honey. I love you. Thank you for working as an international automotive buyer. Couldn't be me. And he has like obviously like there's a certain way that he's talking all these things and he loves his job, but like I can only imagine how much more fun he would love his job if he did his own thing. You know what I mean? So for me, when I'm stepping into exactly who I am and I'm loving this podcast. Like I'm having a great ass time. I've met Haley. I've met so many people around the world that I'm like this is who I am, take it or leave it. And if you don't like it, that's okay. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I
Oh,
understand that. But my work feels a whole lot more fun. I don't hate my job as much. And I also don't have as much imposter syndrome as I used to do because I know I'm being exactly who I'm being who I am. What's the worst case that happens? Someone's like, oh, she's just being exactly who she is. God
mhm.
forbid.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think stepping into exactly who I am and being authentic and real and talking about how I think the other day I was like, I just walked out of Target and I ran into this girl with no makeup. I have a hole in the crotch of my pants right now. We love that for me. Like, I'm just seeing how it is because, like, 9 times out of 10, when I'm relating to content, I'm relating to the TikToks of the mom whose life's a fucking disaster and her
Disaster.
house looks like this. Like, that's like real life.
I'm here for that right there.
This
Yes.
is real life. There's my Walmart candle that cost me $5. Like, I'm just being honest. So, more
I'm
people are
here for
like,
that.
I love it. Like, I'm tired of feeling like we have to be this expectation
Yeah,
of what other people want us to be. And if that is what you want to do, it'll feel so much better. Like, if you like the high end stuff and your house is immaculate because that feels good and you don't like your house a disaster,
right.
I respect that because that's
Yeah.
exactly what you want to do, but don't do it like my house is always clean and I'm all organic because that's not me. I thrive off of happy
My
meals.
desk is a
I-
fucking train wreck right now, if you guys could see.
Yeah, like I thrive off chaos. Like that's my life. And so again, I'm just showing people this is who I am. And I encourage you to do. I have tons of friends who are the complete opposite of me. My best friend is a Pilates queen, all organic, works out 4 times a day. I'm like, I couldn't tell you the last time I touched a treadmill. And we're best friends. Like I'm like, that's your life and this is me. You're doing you and I'm doing me.
Yeah,
And we're like yin and yang. So
yeah,
I
100%.
think for me, for my business, it skyrocketed because even if I wasn't their niche, like they're not checkered pants and bright pink, and they're seeing, I'm just going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to be real and raw and authentic with you. And here's what I would do. And they dig it. And it's skyrocketed my business. It's connected me to the coolest people. Opportunities have floodgated in. Like we partnered with Target this year for our event.
I
Um,
saw that.
we are in talks with YouTube. Like there's so many cool things because I'm just like, this is it. I don't
Yeah,
gotta come on a Zoom and Hi, I'm Demery, and I would love to, I'm just being me. It feels so
Yeah.
much easier,
Yeah.
and your job and workload will thank you, and your mental health will thank you.
So much. So good. You guys, this was probably one of my favorite podcasts. We are at like episode 300, I think, by now. And it is so refreshing when you can just bring someone on the podcast that you're like, can we just like be like friends in real life? And can we like meet for coffee? Like, I
Yes.
cannot wait to meet you and hug you in real life. I come back to Detroit so often, but thank you so much for being on the show today. It was so great. You guys, I know you guys are always asking me, sliding into my DMs, asking me, what event should I go to? What's going on? What do I have out there? This is your opportunity to slide over into her DMs, grab a ticket, go to something different, get into a different niche, get into a different audience, get into a different collaboration circle. And she, I know, is going to bring the best of the best. We don't bring anybody on the show that we don't absolutely edify. So thank you so much for being here. Last thing, tell us when the event is and how they can get information.
Yeah, so the event's April 12th and 13th in Detroit. And again, if it doesn't align with your schedule, like she said, send me a DM. I love a good voice memo, like someone just sliding in my DMs, like, hi, how are you? We're best friends now. So if you
Same.
can't even make it on the podcast, if you can't make it to the event, I totally understand. But April 12th and 13th here in Detroit, the best way to connect with me is just my user handle, just Demery Suann. And all of my Empower stuff is on there, ways to connect with me on my podcast, all these other things that we've got going on. And that's my favorite way to connect with people. So
Absolutely. You guys, we'll have all of her information in the show notes as well. So go over, check her out. Demery, thank you so much for being on the show today, my friend.
thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Scale Your Sales podcast. If today's episode has you fired up, would you do me a huge favor and leave a review over on Apple or Spotify podcast? Or, of course, you can always take a screenshot and share it on your social media. That is the way we grow this show, and so that other people can absolutely learn how to grow their sales as well. I am on a mission to change the mindset of sales. I want people to freaking love sales because the reality is sales is the foundation of everything you do. It's how your business generates revenue consistently. So remember, keep showing up and being unapologetic about selling, because once you fall in love with selling, the sky is absolutely the limit. Until next time, happy selling, and my DMs are always open. I can't wait to get to know you better.